welcome once again to my channel, and today I have a guest. I have the beautiful Dr. Megor with me. She's a medical doctor, early child development specialist. She's a mother of 3, and she has a lot to share. In fact, we share a common passion for parenting, and I just thought to have her here to just share her wisdom with us. Today we're going to talk about routines. A lot of us mothers, we worry, especially when you're busy. How do I have my child, get my child to have a routine? You don't want your child up at 1 a.m. wreaking havoc. You don't want a child who has a weird sleep pattern, or who eats lunch at 2 o'clock today, at different times, each day of the week. How can we help our children get routines? Because we all know that it really does help them, and it does help us as parents as well. What are your tips?
Okay, thank you first of all for having me on your YouTube channel. The first thing, I think, before we even go into that, we should take a moment and even talk about the importance, right?
Okay.
Because yes, we kind of know, but I don't think many parents, especially in this generation where we have lots of things we're doing and stuff, we might not know how far this, whatever effect it will have on our children. So we're talking about children from very early on until when they are much teens, older, yes, in life. And so for a very young child, routines are not just important, routines are actually needed. A child needs to have a predictable routine to be able to feel like he or she is growing up in a loving, safe and secure environment. When a child wakes up in the morning, a child needs to know that, okay, this and this and this are what is going to happen, and not so. They tend to feel very insecure and actually threatened if they don't. So psychologically, you need to build that secure environment. The feeling of security in a child comes from having a routine that the child can actually predict and know that, okay, so this is what I do, and then I do this and do this. And also even with things like discipline and even the rules around the house, to know that, okay, if I do this, this is the consequence. If I do this, this is what I expect. And so you don't just have a child being very afraid, right? There's something we call toxic stress in early childhood, and it's actually affects how the child's brain is wired when children are growing. And toxic stress just comes from an unpredictable environment. For example, especially when you now have things as bad as violence, and maybe just like you said, there's food today, I don't know whether there'll be food tomorrow, all those kind of crazy things. And when it is sustained for a while, can actually affect the children's brains. And what we found out is that what happens very early in childhood actually affects the child for life.
Oh yes.
That's the issue. That's actually, that's why I'm taking time. It affects the child for life. So it's not just about, well, it's just a baby. No. It actually forms the way and makes that child more susceptible to different things in the future, even some debilitating illnesses and preventable diseases that we find adults struggling with. So that's one thing that we have to bear in mind, first of all. So now for if you want to establish routines for children, first of all, every household is different, right? But I will please urge parents that do some research. That's one thing I love about you. Like, you are big on research. I'm just like everything. You want to know, depending on what phase your child is in life. You want to go and find out. For example, we're talking about sleep, we're talking about screen time and stuff like that. What is appropriate for my child's age, right? All this will feed into your designing your own daily routine, right? Here's a sample daily routine that you can see on your screen right now for young children between the ages of, let's say, 8 and 5. And so you can say, okay, for example, you wake up, and in our home, we encourage our children to have some sort of alone, quiet, what's it called? Just quiet personal time.
That's interesting. So when your children wake up, you encourage them to stay by themselves a bit.
Yes. Not even just come. Yeah, because again, that apart from the fact that they need these routines and all that, we are helping them build their own routine for their lives. And you and I know how that is important. So to wake up, if you can, 30 minutes before everybody else, and just practice stillness.
Not grabbing your phone.
No.
That's what adults do. And
Exactly.
You're right, you learn as a child.
Yes.
So when we just be just by yourself.
Yes. So when we can imprint that into the makeup of a child, you're actually helping to set that child up for life, for positive habits that are going to help. So that time we encourage them, okay, be still for a while, take your devotional, take your Bible, and just have your own devotion by yourself. And then my kids recently just evolved something they call a morning walk by themselves. I was shocked. My 6-year-old and 8-year-old. So when they're done with their devotion, they go and tell each other, okay, are you ready? So sometimes one has to wait for the other person to finish. Are you kidding me? I'm not joking. And this one, I can't take credit for it because it wasn't me. I was even like, oh my God, this is something I should do when I saw them doing it. So then they take a walk around the compound, the estate, it's a small estate, and all of that, and which is good. And then they come back before it's time to now have a bath, and then it's time to eat, and then it's time to, so I mean, we're having this chat in 2021, beginning of 2021, where we just came out of a very interesting 2020.
Oh yes.
So for us now, how's the whole of 2020 was homeschooling throughout, right? Yeah. So it was different. Right now, at least we're helping the children get ready to now go to school.
Yes.
But then it was just, so it depends. We have a routine for school period, and then we have a routine for holidays,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So in all of this, for example, I take things like we all know that it's important for our children to get sunlight every day. Now that's something I'm finding that is missing more and more. Depends on where we stay. Children are just in the flat. If they're not going to school, they're there all day. It's dangerous, right? It's not good. They need to play. They need to move around. So you need to have that unstructured free play time, and I try to put that in when the sun is most healthy in this part of the world.
Early morning sun.
So that from that their early morning walk time up to about 11. So after their morning, their food, breakfast and all of that, they now go out and just play a while, out in the sun. So just to make sure they get that sunlight. So having an understanding of where your child is developmentally will help you to plug in some of these things.
Very true.
And then we'll go on to now do whatever work we call it, work time for the day, which is supposed to be schoolwork or anything like that. We'll have snack breaks in between, and then we have all these things. Now, I know that you might think that, isn't this just too much? Especially if you are a working parent, you're working from home and all of that. But I also know that in our part of the world too, we usually we're lucky enough to have help.
People that help.
Yes,
true.
around.
Very true.
So it's also on you to train the help. If you're able to design something that works for your own unique family. Now, what we use in our home might not work for you where you are. And then, of course, the ages of your children might be different and stuff like that. But to sit down to design that and say, okay, then screen time, there's also something we practice, which is quiet time during the day. So it's supposed to be a time before it would have been nap time. But my kids don't nap. So I'm like, okay.
Even I don't nap.
Yeah,
so
right? So I'm like, okay, I don't even want you to nap, because when they nap, it makes a bedtime a bit
more
difficult.
Yes,
right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, no problem. So for just 30 minutes to 1 hour,
just
stay in your room. You can play quietly, read a book, do something after those. And then after that, they get screen time. And screen time is between, depending on their ages, between 1 to 2 hours, a day. Then when school is in, no screen time during the week at all, apart from weekends, and it's all, stuff that you can do.
Something I want to ask, which is, for every parent, because I always say you need to be consistent.
Yes.
When you're trying to, enforce a routine, you want your child to do this at that time, you have to be consistent. At what point can parents actually say, okay, you know what, this routine is now fixed, especially as the children get older?
Yes.
I'll give you an example. You want them to do particular chores at particular times and stuff like that. At what point can you now say, you know what, I can now relax because I know this routine is now part of them and they will do it anyway? Or, which is, part of the same question, how do you get it to be something that becomes part of them?
Yes.
Because, for parents, a lot of times what gets, us tired is that you have to say the same thing every day. I said it yesterday, I said it today, I'm saying tomorrow. After a while, you're like, you know what, I'm tired. So what can we do to make that routine actually become part of it? Because with younger children, I've noticed, like you said, and that was really interesting, they actually need it. So it works easier. Yeah. The younger they are, once you put them on this, once to 7 p.m., in fact, by that time, they're already sleeping. But as they get older, you want to introduce some things into their daily routines, how can you do it and in a way that it will actually stick?
Okay. I think you already answered the question, but one thing I will also say that it definitely helps when you started it earlier, as with everything. Because when they're used to having such a routine, like you said it will change in terms of, okay, maybe when it's bedtime and what else I do and what else I incorporate. But they're already used to having some sort of routine, right? And they I mean, it's their life. They don't even know anything apart from it. You know, that's the way they do life. That's the way they live their life. And two, how do you get it to stick? Remain consistent. Remain consistent. I mean, even for us as adults, you know how hard it is. How long they say, before they said it took you 30 days to learn.
Now they say 100.
Now they said it's 128 or something. You know, that's what they said. Yes.
True.
So nobody really just wakes up and is able to do. And I think sometimes as parents, we are unfair. You know, that's the truth in our expectations from kids, right? You start something and then you just, after 1 week, 2 weeks, you are throwing tantrums and you're like, why can't you keep to this? I think that that's wrong. And it's important when you start something new, you have to be there, or at least delegate to someone who's there to oversee that it is being done until it becomes, you don't just leave children. And then children go through different phases. When they become teenagers again, some things seem to regress. Especially for teenage boys, they've been found to particularly need extra supervision. You don't just say, oh, I know he's doing it. You want to find out, you know, what he's doing and check what he's doing, you know, and monitor. Not to micromanage, but to monitor. It's important. Yeah, so that's it. It's about just, you know, staying consistent and, of course, rewarding. For you, for example, if maybe your kids are not really little and you're trying to start it in the middle of, you know, maybe they're 10 or 12, you know that you have to give rewards, for example, things to motivate them. Yes,
that's a big one.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
A big one.
So, for example, if you're getting them to do chores and, you know, you're say, okay, if you get up, you make your bed and stuff like that. Some of us will give stars and say, okay, when you now have up to how many these stars, yes, I'll do this for you and stuff like that. However, again, it comes back to us as parents being consistent. When they do it for a while, they get the rewards, they're excited, and then it gets to a point you are not keeping your own end of the bargain. And I know you told an interesting story about when you know there was a rule you put in your house, and then later it was like, well, there was no consequence, and then the child just thought, oh well, maybe it's not so important to you after all. You know. So yes, I would say that the most important thing in doing that is staying consistent.
Really.
Yeah,
I agree, because with parents, you know, and just to say that story, what happened was that there was something I had told my son to do. And if he didn't do it, this was the consequence. And he would do it. And then he didn't do it like twice. And I said, I was just tired. I said, okay, he didn't do it. And the third time he didn't do it, I was like, why didn't you do it? He said, Mommy, the last 2 times I did it, you didn't say anything. I thought it was okay. I thought that rule had changed.
Yes.
You know, he's a teenager, so I was like, you know what? You know, Mom, you need to sit up. So the truth is that for parents who are expecting tips that will make life extremely easy, yes, there will be ease by the grace of God, but it is work. It is work. There will be ease in that work. You need to be on. You need to do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what to do. You need to be consistent. You need to continue to say it and talk in love. You spoke about the reward system, which I think is very important, because even for us adults, when we do things that are not, when we do the wrong things, we get punished or we get scolded. You know, whether at work or by our spouse or whatever. But when our children, and when we do the right thing, we expect to be commended. And we feel good when we're commended. When you cook and your husband says, that was really nice, you feel really happy. When you go to work and you do a particular thing and your boss says, great job, you feel good. But when your child does the right thing, you're almost like, he's supposed to do it now. And yes, he is supposed to. But the truth is that when you commend a child for doing the right thing, it gives them an extra, everybody loves to feel good.
Yes.
Everyone loves to feel, you know, feel special, feel appreciated. So when they've done something good and you tell them, you did a good job, it inspires them to say, okay, you know what, there is a reward for doing it, and they keep on doing it. So don't think, as in before, who would do it if you don't do it? You know,
it's your job.
It's your job. Be doing it. It's, you know, yes.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, if you have a child who, you know, without fail, every morning he makes his bed, tidies his room before, you know, without fail. I'm not saying every morning you should be praising him. Yes, but you know, there's nothing wrong in every now and then saying, you know, well, I'm really proud of how you've been taking care of your room. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. Keep up. You're really doing well. Absolutely. The child feels appreciated, and he continues, and he knows, he sees that there's a point in doing it. Okay, so rewards don't always have to be in terms of something, because sometimes we hear reward, I get scared, you know. No, it can be just something simple, but, you know, just commending the person for what they're doing, you know. And then, you know, still back to what you said about children needing routine. I started thinking of, you know, how you plant a flower, you know, or any, you know, any kind of produce. And that early stage, the stage of growth, even in the womb, when the baby is being formed, the things that happen at that stage within the 9 months, that gestation period, are so important and play a big role in the child's
outcome. For life.
Yeah. So some things that you happen, you know, there are things you call what's it called, congenital issues. They are, you know, it's from that point, and it affects them for life. So you think of what you're doing in the child's formative years, and if your child is already a particular, and you feel, oh, I missed out on the early childhood stage, do not be afraid. Do not think, oh, it's all over. I cannot teach my child to do things properly. I can't give them a routine. You still can. Tips for older children, Megor.
Yes.
People who think, okay, you know what? When my child was younger, I let them do whatever. There was no routine and all that. What can I do now that they're older to help them?
Fantastic. And just to encourage a parent that might be thinking that you as an adult, come on, you still find new habits that you decide that you want to imbibe.
That's true.
And we work at it to do it. We just know that it's more difficult, right? Yes, but it's possible. And so it's also more possible and even easier for your child. The first thing, the good thing there you have going for you is that, oh, they're old enough, they understand, you can communicate, right?
That's true.
So you have that edge. So the first thing you want to do is to sit down with them and have a conversation and say, okay, you see, this is where we are. And, you know, as parents, I would try to encourage us to be more vulnerable, you know, and to just be more real. You could say, you know what, I'm sorry I didn't do this for you. Because the truth is, an adult without a routine, without proper habits and all that, is going to struggle in life. And you probably already see your kids struggling, maybe with their academics, their ability to be independent and do stuff on their own and stuff like that. And you want to say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I didn't teach you this earlier, for example. I'm sorry that I have actually just let you just live anyhow or giving you a house without rules. I mean, we know of kids who have grown up unruly in a sense, without rules, and then later they come back and blame their parents because when they go out to the society is trying to hold them responsible for something that they've never been held responsible for.
Growing up,
and they feel angry, like, why didn't you teach me this? Because it was your responsibility. So yeah, the first thing to say, okay, sorry, you know, and this, but however, now I'm here to work with you. Let's work together. This and this and this are the habits I think you need to learn. And sometimes if you really get that right, you'll get to even hear a lot from them. Very true. They will tell you too where they think, mommy, I wish I could learn to do this. I wish I'm able to, you know, concentrate more, finish my tasks, you know, those kinds of things. Because when children are not given to routine, they give up easily. You know, they're trying to do one thing, they can't do, they leave it, they move to the next thing, they don't get their work finished. So many things, you know. And then sit down with them and now design a plan to say, okay, going forward, how are we going to do this? Okay, it's just like if I needed to learn a new habit, right? You can share, okay, this is what I will do as an adult to learn a new habit. So let's, and then please take it easy. Some of us go back and want to change your whole life, like their whole 24 hours at once. It won't work. Yeah. You have to start too drastic. So introducing, so it might just be one area. It might be in the area of chores or in the area of reduction of screen time, for example, or something. And then you handle that first. And then you say, okay, when you are doing this, this is going to be the reward. And when you don't do this, please, this is going to be the consequence. And know that I'm going to be holding you to this standards. And make sure you do that as you say that. And then you, of course, give it time. Like you said, don't give up. Don't give up after just, you know. And then also look for great things to also create routines for that the children will enjoy. I remember in my own home, my husband and I used to have a date night, which was every Thursday when we're in the same city and together. And it was our kids that came and said, so this is all so sweet and rosy. Every Thursday you just take yourselves out somewhere or lock yourselves in the room and you're like, it's date night. what about family nights? I never thought about it.
Beautiful.
Ah, yes. They were like, in this house, Friday is going to be family nights. We're like, okay, that makes sense. And so we've been able to do that for some years. So Friday nights, you know, that is incorporated into our routine.
It's because you started with the
other one.
So you inspired, you inspired. But if you know, because you know, the truth is that as human beings, we get our inspiration from somewhere.
Yeah.
It might be inward, it might be outward.
Yes.
Maybe a friend was doing it, but also the fact that you had your own comfort, and you're like, okay, good idea. Let's have something.
So create time also in the routine where, as a family, you guys hang out, or maybe might be taking a walk together, or of course praying together. One thing I was so happy for the whole 2020 Corona period. I mean, even though it had so many devastating effects, but for the first time in our lives as a family, I've been trying. It has always been start and stop for us. We're able to consistently have our family devotion every single day. Apart from, I mean, I'm just really very grateful about that.
Grateful for
yes. So those are great family traditions that you want to start. So look around what people are doing, research, you know, ask questions. Stuff like that, to find out what are the positive things, so that your child doesn't see it as all a chore. You also give, as you're incorporating new things, they are seeing things to look forward to as part of this new regime. I think that will help.
I think I really like the idea of you know, discussing everything. A lot of times we forget that these children actually understand things.
Oh yes.
So when you tell them, I remember there's a time I was trying to explain to my son why I don't want him to be watching certain things. I said, you know, at times because it consumes your mind. That's what you think about. I was like, yeah, mommy, that's why I dream about. I was like, yes, that's why.
Exactly.
You know, that's why. So you need to explain to them, and it actually does make sense when they say, okay, this is a life skill that I need. This is something that will help me be more disciplined. And then also when they see what you are doing as a parent and see how it has helped you.
Absolutely.
They need to be like, okay, this really does make sense. You know, and I was thinking, as you were talking about, you know, starting early and all of that, and you know, and not being too drastic. I remember, you know, weaning my children, because I breastfed all my children, and the ones I weaned later, some breastfed to maybe like 24 months or more. It was harder to wean them when I did it cold turkey. When I just said, oh yeah, I'm stopping today.
Once.
It was harder for me
and harder for them.
But when I took my time to say, okay, you know what, by stopping and I was reducing the time, you know, gradually they got used to saying, okay, we're not doing this anymore, no more breastfeeding, and it was easier for us both, you know. So you have to decide, okay, you know what, I want to do this. How am I going to do it? I'm going to take it easy, baby steps, take it, because you know, when you're introducing anyone to a new thing, it is a bit tough. And then if you do this with children as well, even when you're moving to a new country or a new state, once their routine is intact, it helps them settle in.
Yes, it does.
It helps. It just makes it okay. Everything is the same. Everything is here. The things I'm used to. The things I still wake up at this time. I still go to bed. It helps them easily settle down and get used to what they're doing. So, like you said, it does really help them. You know, that's really something to think about. Dr. Megor, thank you for coming. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to discuss parenting and life with you. Any other tips?
Thanks for having me. Yes, and it came from something you actually mentioned, modeling the way.
Yes.
So whatever it is, I mean, you too, if you're struggling, you too also begin to practice the right kinds of habits.
Very true.
Because most of the time they will do what they see you do rather than what you tell them to do. So those ones, what they see you do becomes their natural. And so it's important that you try to also model the right way. Thank you so much, Big Sis, for having me.
Thank you for being here. And that's a good way to end. So parents, you've heard it. It's do as I do. Yeah, do as I do. Do as I say and I do. Don't just say it, but also do it. And it will help them also to, you know, get that routine. When they see that you are also an organized person who does have a routine, it also helps them as well. Don't just say, oh, adulthood, it's not time to now just be doing anything anyhow, because for me that was what adulthood was. I can do anything anyhow.
Freedom. Finally.
But it helps you be more productive even as an adult when you have a routine. And it will definitely help your children as well. So thank you for joining us. Look forward to having you again. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share. Thank you so much.